as the queen bee who controls millions of bees. She has always been the target of ambitious people's recruitments. At this point, after dealing with various matters, Queen Bee returned to the wall. Maria asked, "What do you mean by joining forces?" Hilda replied solemnly, "It means coexistence. We can work together to get rid of Benjamin and then coexist in this world. Our intelligence officers have been observing the society established by Queen Bee and have reached a conclusion. The insect nest project is successful. And all of this is because of you. You transformed the carnivorous bee colony into a herbivorous one. This ensures human safety, and humans establish farms with the help of the bee colony. Even other ferocious large insects are easily controlled by the black bees. If this situation can be expanded, then human beings can avoid extinction and continue into the insect era. This is also the goal of our Henslow family." Maria questioned, "But how can I believe that after Benjamin falls, you won't do the same things as him? Don't you know that in my eyes, both Henslow and Peach Blossom Land are the same? I know your concerns. Queen Bee, you know it. Our fortress base is located beneath the permafrost. It is impervious to any bombings and attacks. Even the Black Bee army cannot invade us. To show sincerity, we can let the bees live inside. It can propose such conditions. It is not easy for us. This is like letting another country's troops live in an impregnable fortress. And our family's prince will also voluntarily become your hostage. And the person who is destroying this world is Benjamin. We, Henslow, are not on the same side as him. We are against him. We share the same goal with you." Although Hilda's words are sincere, Maria does not believe a single word she says. But she has no choice now. If the bees are not used now, innocent people will be killed. Only by joining forces with Henslow can everyone be saved. And at this critical moment, Henslow came forward to talk about cooperation. This must be a trap. But I can't refuse them now. Just as the queen bee hesitated, Lori behind Hilda stepped forward. "Are you Martha's cousin, Maria?" "My name is Lori. I am Martha's friend." Maria asked in surprise. "How did you recognize me?" Lori explained. "It's your voice. In the past, when my friends and I were wandering in the ruins trying to survive, we once heard your broadcast. Martha immediately recognized your voice and said you were her cousin. That's why we came to T-City to find you. We experienced many things on the way just to meet you. And I got separated from Martha. I met Hilda on the way, and she saved my life. Maria, have you seen Martha? Where is she now? Is she doing well?" Maria looked at the distant black smoke rising and said slowly, "Martha is in the Shell Refugee." Maria turned back to Hilda and said, "I am willing to work with you." After speaking, several insect claws grew out from her back. Right after that, her whole body was covered in red insect armor. She emitted a strong pheromone into the sky. The surrounding forests started to tremble. Then countless black bees rushed out from the forests, flying towards T-City like a dark cloud. Hilda and Lori were struck by the enormity of the swarm of bees. "Beautiful and powerful beast, I will destroy everything you have. Then you will submit to me." At this moment, Elder drives an armored vehicle speeding through the dilapidated street. He is rushing to rescue refugees at Refuge, but finds the road ahead blocked. Elder made a sharp turn to change the route. He was met with a rocket launcher. After making a sharp break to dodge the rocket, the car crashed into a supermarket. Then another shell hit the armored vehicle. A figure stood in the building opposite. After he had done all this, he dropped the launcher and began to retreat. He threw 2 glass bottles at the corner as he went downstairs. When the bottles broke, a gas quickly spread throughout the entire building. He put on a gas mask and carefully searched for his target in the toxic smoke because he knew Elder would not die in such a clumsy trap. At this moment, Elder quickly approached the building. He came to the side of the building and directly threw a high explosive grenade. The grenade landed precisely next to the man. With the explosion of the grenade, the man was blasted out of the window by a powerful shockwave. At the moment he landed, a gun was pointed at his head. Kent, I've told you to give up a long time ago. Haven't you already anticipated this situation? Captain, if you have always been by Queen Bee's side, she would not ally with Prince. As long as you disappear, this war will end. Kent, what nonsense are you talking about? Don't look at me like that. I'm not a traitor. When I was paralyzed and unable to take care of myself, I kept thinking. I should have died at the base. Sacrificed like a spark on the battlefield, rather than live like a dying wild beast. If I don't inject the medication given by Henslow regularly now, I will be paralyzed immediately. This is not the result I want. I can't return to my past life anymore. We are just mercenaries who do dirty work for others. People like us will not have any great life ideals. Kent, your words make me very angry. Why would you give up when life reaches its final peak? If there's anything more painful than betrayal in this world, it is distrust. Kent believes in me. The goal we have been pursuing all along is about to be achieved. Moreover, the ultimate winner of this war will only be Queen Bee. Even if you bomb the entire T-City, you still won't be able to defeat her. Captain, you don't need to boast. This trick won't work on me. You said Queen Bee will win? That shows you don't understand the terror of Henslow. They will not only use force to suppress you. They will also tame you. They will thoroughly investigate the target person's background and surroundings. And then, they create hardships for you. They extend a helping hand when you are in despair. When antipathy turns into intimacy. Henslow. They will show their overwhelming power. Even if you were initially hostile to them, you will eventually succumb to them. Do you think Queen Bee will be different? Kent sounds impressive. Are they not going to let me have a try? Captain, don't joke around. Henslow just wants to get rid of you. And I am the assassin they sent. It's because you are the type of person who never gives up until they achieve their goal that I have been assigned this task. Kent, I never thought about it. People like us, with blood on our hands, will have a good ending. So as a parting gift for you leaving the team, can you tell me if Benjamin is still alive? Because I still have some things to settle with him. Captain, what are you talking about? It was Benjamin who initiated the shelling this time. Suddenly, Kent recalled their conversation just now. This old fox took the opportunity to extract information. Kent, you reacted slowly. Indeed, domesticated dogs are dumber than wild dogs outside. Henslow's intention is to manipulate Queen Bee's psychology, so that Queen Bee is willing to work for them voluntarily, right? You tell me if Benjamin is still alive. I will consider sparing your life. Captain, I have been sad for a long time. I have been troubled for a long time. I have always felt that betraying you is a very painful thing. But now there is something more painful than this. That is that you do not trust me. With a gunshot. Elder and his former confidant engaged in a showdown. War is cruel. A little girl looked at the refuge being bombed by artillery fire. She couldn't help but shed tears of sorrow. It was built by their own hands from scratch, brick by brick. Yet, it was destroyed so easily by others. Suddenly a bomb fell next to her building. Countless shards of glass fell down. Martha, who was passing by, immediately threw her down when she saw the scene. You fool! What are you daydreaming about? Pull yourself together. This is war. You'll get killed if you keep going like this. I still need to go find the teacher. Soldiers from Peach Blossom Land are interrogating a group of refugees in a small alley nearby, forcing them to reveal the location of the Resistance Alliance's underground tunnel and Queen Bee intelligence. However, they are just ordinary refugees. How would they know about the intelligence? Suddenly, a soldier was shot in the head. The soldiers of Peach Blossom Land quickly stood guard on all sides. At this time, another bullet accurately killed a soldier. The soldiers were panicked at this point, because the direction of each bullet shot was different each time. They were indeed ambushed by a small team. But they could not have imagined that they were being attacked by just a little girl. Martha was quickly moving inside the building, constantly changing positions and shooting. Unable to locate the enemy's position, the bewildered soldiers just wanted to retreat from here as soon as possible. At this moment, a soldier opened the door of a building, preparing to go inside to take cover from the attack. Just as he opened the door, a thin line pulled the pin of a grenade and flew past them. With a loud bang, several people were instantly blasted out, watching the enemy struggling to survive. Martha, who was hiding in the corner, raised her gun and ended his sinful life. At this moment, Martha came to the soldier's body. She picked up their communicator and listened to the conversations inside. The assault team encountered an ambush by the rebel forces and was completely wiped out. All nearby units are gathering in that area to encircle and eliminate them. Martha picked up a gun upon hearing this and started jumping between the buildings. This intensity of battle. This is for Martha, who is developing her abilities. This is very relaxing. Smoke filled the city. People often abhor war, but some people are leisurely drinking tea. He looked at the city below, shrouded in smoke, and sarcastically said, "What a scene, both beautiful and sad." "I really admire you, Adam. How did you know that Benjamin is so incompetent?" Adam replied indifferently, "I don't know. I just want to survive." "From now on, Walter, we need to take this seriously. This prince, every time I see him, he sends chills down my spine. From now on, all actions must be directed by me." Walter just replied casually, "Okay." The two suddenly remembered Favre, who was trapped in a box. It's indeed the parasite that was forcibly stuffed into the box. He provided the location where Queen Bee is hidden. This breaks the three-legged standoff situation. But these are not the most important. There is also intelligence about King in these reports. Although everyone is going crazy over the power of Queen Bee. But all Queen Bees will be confused by King. Although the subspecies of Queen Bee can always be found. But up to now, King has only Richard. No matter who it is, everyone has fought for King. If he can obtain the way or gene to become king, then he can control all Queen Bees. However, Favre also has the same idea. As long as they catch King alive, he can take the opportunity to parasitize King. When Favre was about to say something to deceive others, he was cut off by Adam with a kick, closing the box. He returned to this dark and airless box once again. They were discussing their next step in the plan. A strong sense of pressure descended. They looked up. Millions of bees covered the entire sky. A truck-sized black bee flew overhead. It carries the strongest person in the world. Adam finally understood why everyone wants to get Queen Bee after seeing all this with his own eyes. A massive group like this is difficult to eliminate even with the most powerful weapons. And as the ruler, Queen Bee is so powerful that it is daunting. However, Walter was enchanted by Queen Bee's stunning beauty at first sight. The female student is crying now. But the next second, she will turn into someone who can kill you. At this time, a group of soldiers broke in. They found only a poorly dressed female student inside, crying continuously. She seemed to have been subjected to some kind of excessive treatment. She was also shouting, "Big brother, save me!" Those who had not paid attention to her, and those wild animals with guns ran towards the elevator. "Help me kill them quickly." Hearing this, two soldiers hurried to the elevator shaft to check. The soldiers were regretting being one step late as they escaped. They quickly notified those outside through the communicator. However, what they didn't know was that Martha was watching them from behind. At this moment, Martha pushed off the wall with both feet and leaped. With a bang, she shot out. She kicked the two soldiers into the elevator with a flying kick. The soldiers instantly fell into the elevator shaft tens of meters high. After dealing with the two enemies, Martha quickly picked up her backpack. She took out 2 grenades from it and threw them into the corridor. With the grenades exploding violently, the soldiers downstairs were forced to stop advancing. But they were not in a hurry, because they had surrounded the entire building. At this moment, The snipers outside the building kept searching for the enemies. Suddenly, there was a violent explosion inside the building. A figure was blasted out. People lying in ambush outside were surprised and asked what happened. How did a female student get blasted out? However, all of this was Martha's plan. In order to break through the encirclement, she detonated a bomb inside the building, making the enemy think that the people inside had blown themselves up, thus deceiving those who were lying in ambush. This is the tactic taught to her by Elder. As a strategic-level individual weapon, every action on the battlefield must be carefully considered. Martha, who was lying on the ground, quietly got up. She took the weapon hidden on the sofa in advance. The Martha who escaped from the encirclement listened to the soldier from Peach Blossom Land in the communicator saying they had captured many refugees. She couldn't help but feel very strange. Martha didn't understand why they were capturing so many refugees. Do they want to interrogate the refugees to find out the whereabouts of Queen Bee? Even if that's the case, how could the refugees possibly know the location of Queen Bee? At this time, another message came through the communicator. A male mutated human single-handedly wiped out a squad in Peach Blossom Land. Martha was stunned. Could this person be her brother-in-law? Martha took off her shoes, revealing her mutated feet. She walked up the wall directly to go support Richard. Martha heard that her brother-in-law was surrounded. She hurried to go help. A group of soldiers are carefully searching for the enemy. At this moment, Richard, hiding in the dark, gripped a grenade tightly and threw it hard at the soldiers. The grenade hit the leader of the soldiers on the face fiercely, instantly shattering the soldier's eyes. It's hard to imagine how much force Richard used to throw the grenade. As the grenade exploded, the people around were instantly blown away. Pitbull, hiding in the corner, watched Richard in battle. It had heard before that male bees, in order to be with their queen bee, constantly strengthen their bodies. The strength Richard displayed was too weak. And why was his right eye always covered? After Richard dealt with the enemies inside the building, he arrived at the rooftop. A drone immediately descended. The little girl Martha saved earlier is the warehouse keeper. She is in charge of the secret warehouse of the Alliance. She controls the drones that deliver supplies to the people resisting the Alliance. Richard twisted his neck. He spit out a bullet. During the battle, Richard had been using his body to block bullets all along. Like a reckless man, he shot through the well-equipped squad. Also, his wound-healing speed was too fast. Bullets can only be spit out from the mouth along the neck. Just then a soldier appeared behind Richard, just as he was about to shoot. With a gunshot, the soldier attempting to sneak attack was killed by Pitbull. Pitbull said to Richard, "From now on, leave your back to me. Keeping me alive is the best decision you've ever made in your life." When they launched an air strike on T-City in Peach Blossom Land, the Pitbull was begging for help like a mad dog, but no one paid any attention to him. However, at that moment, Richard happened to pass by and was stopped by the Pitbull. The kind-hearted Richard directly put the key into his mouth and then left. It's also that Pitbull, whose destiny should not be extinguished, was able to escape with both hands handcuffed. Therefore, the two of them started teaming up to fight. Look! This woman ruthlessly killed an unarmed refugee. Even her subordinates were starting to feel uneasy about it. He quickly stepped forward to stop her with his words. "Captain, please stop this. The reason we picked up the gun is that we have a mission to carry out, not because we enjoy killing. Please stop harming innocent civilians." Doris looked at the man who disturbed her peaceful mood. She pierced the man's palm with one claw. "I hate it when someone interrupts my peace." When Doris first saw Mercenary in the warehouse, she felt that this group of people was as terrifying as Hell's Reapers. But looking back now, she found that they were just fragile little birds that could be crushed at any time. It's just that by casually taking over a body, they could gain such powerful strength. If I can find the strongest queen bee and enter her body, then I can metamorphose into a butterfly from larva metamorphosis. I will become the most beautiful creature in the world by then. and everyone will want to have me. Just think how exciting it is. At a time when Doris is still lost in fantasy. A signaler ran over. Report to the commanding officer. Our surveillance equipment captured a drone. It repeatedly transports supplies on the same route. I suspect it's a drone from Queen Bee. Doris grinned and said, Lock the location immediately. Let's go check it out. A little girl is organizing the drone, preparing to deliver supplies to the soldiers outside. At this moment, Doris suddenly appeared behind her and asked, Child, where will these things fly to? The little girl turned her head and saw someone. She immediately pulled out a handgun and fired several shots. Doris teleported behind the little girl and swung her claws to knock her down. She looked at the little girl lying motionless on the ground. Doris shouted angrily, Stop playing dead there! Where were you planning to take it just now? Make it fly up quickly! Watching the little girl remain indifferent, Doris went crazy stabbing at her. But the little girl was completely indifferent to the wounds on her body. She instead laughed and said, Do you know who this thing is for? Are you sure you won't regret it? Doris, seeing the little girl still daring to mock her, raised her hand wanting to strike, but was stopped by her subordinate. Reluctant Doris urged her to quickly get up and manipulate the drone. The little girl placed her blood-stained palm on the drone. In this way, the person receiving the drone would know that something went wrong in the warehouse. As the drone flew to the preset location, Doris said lightly, This drone's battery can only last for 20 minutes. Considering the round trip, the journey will only be 10 minutes. You better not play tricks. Otherwise, I will make you die a miserable death. Upon hearing this, the little girl continued to mock. Don't worry. It will fly there in no time. I hope you won't regret it. It will lead you to death. At this time, Elder and Kit were having their final negotiation. However, the negotiation ultimately broke down. Kit lifted his cloak to reveal the insect-like claw on his back. Elder fired continuously with a pistol loaded with special bullets. Kent, with his insect-like claw, dodged the bullets by running on the walls and eaves. When a magazine of bullets was depleted, Elder quickly took cover in the building to reload the magazine. Kent did not dare to recklessly follow Elder into the building. As brothers who had worked together for many years, he knew how cunning Elder could be with traps. Kent cautiously entered the building, carefully inspecting any suspicious items. However, Elder had not set any traps. Instead, he had gone to the rooftop of another building to collect supplies. When Elder arrived at the drone and saw the bloodstains on it, his entire face darkened instantly because he knew something had gone wrong in the warehouse. Just at that moment, Kent chased over. The two of them were shooting at each other on the rooftop. As an experienced veteran, neither side gained much advantage in this intense gunfight. When both of them finished shooting a magazine, Kent was slightly inferior as he got shot in the neck, but it did not pierce through. It was blocked by his powerful muscles. Kent used a small knife to cut open the skin and picked out the bullet. His wound healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Kent said, Captain, did you see that? This is the power of the Henslow family. We are no longer tormented by illness. We don't have to wait for natural evolution. This is the power of science. I am proud to be a member of this great organization. Elder hid behind cover listening to Kent's words. His calf uncontrollably trembled. After all, he was a man in his 60s. His physical functions were no longer what they used to be. However, Kent arrogantly said, Captain, you previously mentioned about paying my retirement funds. I agree. From now on, I am Elder, the exclusive Elder of Henslow. Elder, feeling helpless, said, Congratulations, Elder. Can I leave now? I'm busy and don't have time to listen to your boasting. The captain replied, No, Elder. This is where you will meet your end. Queen Bee suddenly appeared behind him. Kent sensed the hostility, turned around immediately, and fired his gun, but it was too late. Queen Bee's claws had already pierced into his body. Elder saw this scene. He turned around and ran away. After all, this is just a copy of Queen Bee and won't delay for much time. Quick, look, this crazy woman was happily slaughtering civilians just a second ago. The next second, she was turned into a mummy by someone. At this moment, Elder abandoned the clone that was in battle. He hurriedly went in the direction of the warehouse. Inside a command vehicle, several soldiers were discussing how their captain seemed to have changed completely after the core transplant. Not only has his appearance changed, even his behavior and actions are like that of a child with a mental disorder. But while chatting, I found that she did not have amnesia. And after the signal of Peach Blossom Land disappeared, their captain is not worried at all. She is still enthusiastically slaughtering civilians, even though the tracker has pinpointed the location. But do we really want to entrust our lives to the captain? Just as they were still discussing, Doris angrily walked into the command vehicle. Hasn't it been 10 minutes already? How come the location hasn't been found yet? However, the soldier in front of the monitor lied. The tracker signal suddenly interrupted. The drone may have been shot down and crashed. Upon hearing this, Doris was burning with anger. The darn kid dared to lie to me. Then she returned to the rooftop in desperation, grabbed the little girl by the hair, and scolded loudly. Where did you deliver the goods? Tell me the location quickly. At this moment, the little girl lay weakly in a pool of blood and said, There were too many things to deliver. I don't remember clearly. But all the coordinates are saved in the safe in the warehouse. I can't get up anymore. The password is 678798. You can go take a look yourself. Doris arrived at the safe in the warehouse and turned the combination lock according to the password. With the final digit entered, the safe clicked open. I only heard a loud explosion. The warehouse was instantly blown into countless fragments. The little girl laughed heartily. That safe was just a bomb trap. Now you know how powerful I am when you torture me. Suddenly, a figure walked slowly out of the sea of fire. It was Doris. The intense explosion did not manage to kill her. However, her entire body was burnt to charcoal by the flames, with only her face left intact. Suddenly, a splash of blood sprayed up. The little girl's life came to an end. At this moment, Elder, who was rushing to the warehouse, couldn't help but feel nervous as he watched the explosion on the rooftop. If I give you a pair of wings, can you really be free? At this moment, Nun and the others watched as Queen Bee and Hilda left. Watching the smoke in the distant city, Nun felt very uneasy. In her view, the so-called alliance only exists among forces of comparable strength. Alliances like theirs, with a power imbalance, will gradually become vassals of others after the war ends. And here also hides the daughter of Queen Bee. If she falls into the hands of the enemy, they will be utterly defeated. So Nun fired a signal flare into the sky. Looking at the signal flare in the sky, the warriors of the daycare followed the pre-planned route to move the children to the safe house. Zack, who was entrusted with heavy responsibility, escorted Queen Bee's daughter for separate evacuation. Hilda, who had just left not long ago, looked at the signal flare and sensed that something was wrong. Those guys actually moved people away. Lori saw Hilda's pale face and couldn't help but ask, Are you worried because of the signal flare just now? Lori, the children may be in danger. Can you go and confirm if the children are safe? Okay. After speaking, Lori got out of the car and spread her wings, flying into the sky. At this moment, Lori, flying in the sky above the city, noticed a minibus driving on the street. Lori quickly flew down. This scene scared the driver who was driving. Lori doesn't care about these things. She quickly asked, Is Lily inside? The man stammered and asked, Why do you want to know this? This has nothing to do with us hiding with the child. Lori sincerely said, I'm just worried about her safety. I just want to stay by her side to protect her. Isn't she inside? I don't know where she went. I still have tasks to do over here. Lori watched the minibus leave. She immediately contacted Hilda. I found the car, but she wasn't inside. And they seem to not trust us. Lack of trust is normal. They should have anticipated this situation and prepared in advance. Lori, you keep looking for Queen Bee's daughter. Once you find them, don't let them notice. Just let me know their location. Lori asked with a dark expression. Why is this? Aren't we supposed to protect her? Lori, just do as I say. After the communication ends, Hilda waved her hand. Several armed helicopters flew towards daycare. As the helicopters locked onto their target, daycare instantly turned into a sea of flames. Lori in the sky looked at the distant smoke and felt a sense of unease. Isn't that the direction of daycare? Why did we just leave? They were attacked right after we left. Could all of this have been done by Hilda? I'm sorry, I didn't want to hurt you. But I have no choice. At this moment, Zack gave up the motorcycle and ran with Lily on the street. Little Lily on his back sweetly shouted, Brother, brother, Zack brother. Sweet little Lily, although I am happy that you called me brother, can you please be quiet now? What if someone hears us? Zack, look quickly. There is a beautiful young lady above. He looked up, only to find Lori staring at them. Zack quickly pulled out his gun, ready to fight desperately. Lori jumped down and made a hushing gesture. Then she pointed to the communicator in her ear, signaling them not to speak aloud, as they might be listened to. She grabbed Zack's hand and wrote on it, Later, pretend to hide in the house up ahead. Take the opportunity to escape after I leave. After doing all this, Lori immediately contacted Hilda. I have found Lily's hiding place. I will now send you the coordinates and location. They are now hiding under that building. Thank you for your hard work, Lori. Next, we need to go to another war zone to execute the mission. Hurry up and come join me. Lori flew back in no time. She asked Hilda, pointing towards the distant smoke. Hilda, the direction where the smoke is coming from seems to be the daycare. Shall we go take a look? Hilda responded nonchalantly. No need. I have already sent a message to the command center. They will send the photos after the aerial survey. At that moment, with a loud bang, a missile exploded in the distance. Lori was startled. The explosion happened right where Lily's safe house was located. Lori was instantly drenched in cold sweat. Hilda, something serious has happened. The location of the explosion just now seems to be where the children were hiding. What should we do? At this moment, Hilda pretended to be very nervous. She urged Lori to fly over first to check if the children were safe. She would follow shortly after Lori flew away. Hilda held her head in pain and said, This kind of thing should have been done by the mercenary. I'm not suitable for doing this kind of dirty work. When the two of them arrived at the explosion site, the residential building had already been bombed into ruins. Lori stood in front of the ruins, crying incessantly. She also held a bloody piece of clothing in her hand. Hilda came over and comforted Lori by putting her arm around her shoulder. Don't blame yourself. This is not your fault. Maybe Benjamin carried out a devastating strike in this area. They were just unlucky to have taken cover there. In any case, let's go back first. Return to Queen Bee's side to help her. Lori nodded silently. However, a look of fear appeared on her face. If I hadn't been a little cautious just now, Lily would have really died. How should I face Martha when I see her in the future? Child, you must be in a lot of pain. Just sleep. Once you fall asleep, the pain will go away. You have done great. I will help you along the way ahead. At this moment, Elder is either rushing or coming late. When he arrived at the rooftop, there was only a cold corpse left. Elder held the little girl's body and sang a requiem for her, bidding farewell to the heroic spirits who died in battle. Rest in peace. Grandpa will avenge you right away. At this moment, Doris was wrapped up like a mummy. She kept screaming in pain, saying how uncomfortable it was. Be gentle when wrapping me up. Please find a way to make me feel less uncomfortable quickly. Wrap the bandage a bit tighter. It's uncomfortable even with a slight breeze blowing now. At this moment, a medical soldier said while bandaging, Calm down, sir. You are not a child. Don't move around. I am giving you first aid treatment now. Suddenly, Doris grabbed the medical soldier and shouted, This body is already broken. Help me transplant it into a new body immediately. Upon hearing Doris' words, several soldiers looked at each other. At that moment, they realized that the person in front of them was no longer their former captain. She had gone mad.